Hello everybody, Anna Morales here, and welcome to my third adventure. You know what I like about Thomas and Friends? The characters, the voice actors, the settings, and the narrators, and the plots too. But for today's video, we'll be talking about my top 5 favorite Thomas and Friends narrators. Before I start, I want to say a few rules. First of all, I'm only including those in the TV series, not in the PC games or any of the Railway series books or so. And I will include the UK narrators too. Now, with that out of the way, let's get this video chugging. Number 5, Alec Baldwin. This guy is the one that narrated seasons 5 through 6. And you may also remember him that he voiced Dennis in the first SpongeBob movie. The reason why I put him as number 5 is because in the 5th season, he did well in his voices, but in the 6th season, that all changed. For example, his Duncan voice changed in season 6, and his Donald and Douglas don't sound Scottish, and that's because he gave them American accents. But the reason for that was because he got a divorce. I'm sorry to hear that. And those are the reasons why I put it as number 5. But I still think he's a good narrator. Same thing with a good actor, too. Number 4, Michael Brandon. Michael Brandon, one of the longest Thomas the Tank Engine narrators to date. He also voiced Mr. Bubbles and Devious Diesel on the CGI series from seasons 13 to 16. The reason why I put him as number 4 is because, unlike Alec Baldwin, he is one of those Thomas narrators that's overhated in the Thomas community. And I can understand that, but I like his narrations and his voices for each of the characters. So I'll give him a pass. Now then, wonder who will be next. This will be a good one. Number 3, Ringo Starr. Oh yes, Ringo Starr. This guy is the one of the drummer of the Beatles, and the first Thomas and Friends narrator. He was the one that narrated Thomas and Friends in the UK, and then later on he re-narrated 41 episodes for different countries. And I have to say, both of them in the UK and the US, they both sound good. But when you watch both of the UK and the US, you can see that the lines are different and they're changed a little just to make it sound different. Now then, he also been able to voice Thomas in that Children in Need special with Roy the Racing Car and other cartoons. And I have to say, he did a pretty good job. Now then, let's move on with number 2. Number 2, Mark Morgan. Oh yes, Mark Morgan. One of the most recent narrators before Thomas did in the Big World Big Adventures. He also played as Mr. Evans in the Thomas shorts. After season 16, that's when Mark Morgan narrated both the UK and the US dubs for seasons 17 through 21. And I have got to say, he did a pretty good job narrating them. He almost sounds like Ringo Starr. And I would say a tiny little bit like Michelangelo's, which I'll get to later on. And one thing you probably not know, but he also voiced Dexter, the coach, in one of the Thomas episodes. It's too bad that he only narrated seasons 17 to 21 because his narration is good and memorable. Now then, let's move on. Now, before I get to number 1, I just want to give 2 honorable mentions. Pierce Brosnan. He easily would have been number 5, but the reason why I didn't put him on the list was because he only narrated in the special The Great Discovery Never Returned, and he was originally going to narrate seasons 12 to 14, but was dropped, which that's a shame. But I still like him as a narrator still. Michelangelo's, while his narration is starting to grow on me, but I put him in the honorable mentions because I'm not used to the UK narration. I'm more used to the US one because that's the one I grew up with. But still, in conclusion, I still like him as a narrator. And my number one best Thomas the Tank Engine narrator is George Carlin. I bet you knew this was coming, didn't you? The reason why I put George Carlin as number one for two reasons. One, he's the most loved narrator in the entire Thomas community, from what I've heard at least. And two, I enjoy his character voices for each characters from seasons 3 to 4, which I loved, by the way. And after he narrated season 4, he went back to his comedy routine, as you know. And I think he was an overall fantastic, wonderful, and the best Thomas the Tank Engine narrator in the whole Thomas history. Well, that was my top 5 narrators video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section of which of these Thomas the Tank Engine narrators you like the best. Do you agree with my list, or do you have your own personal preference? And don't worry, I'll still make more adventure videos, but I need some time to think about what will come next. I will see you next time. Bye bye.